Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Falcons, the Men of Northeast Catholic. And I have a special Hall of Fame guest with me today, and you are?
Barry Brodzinski.
What class, Bar?
Class of 73.
Year I was born. No wonder there's greatness in front of me.
Yeah, I feel a lot younger than that.
So, you look young.
That's a good thing.
So, Bar, what neighborhood and what parish did you come from before North?
A neighborhood was I was in between Wisnoming, Tacony, Frankfurt, but I went to St. Bart's.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was really hairy at one point because the neighborhood changed the lines, and across the street went to St. Tim's, and they went to Father Judge, and our side of the street went to St. Bart's, and we went to North.
So in 1973, I'm assuming other schools had started coming to play. So why did you choose North Catholic?
Well, so I was a freshman in '69, and there really wasn't any question for me. My dad graduated from North in '43, and then he went into the Marines, and we were a very Polish Catholic family, and with having a dad that was a Marine, I guess he got to be corporal at one point. Things were pretty rigid at home, and so there was no choice of schools. But then my older brother also went to North Catholic. He was a class of '69, actually. He graduated in '69, my brother Iggy, and I just was in love with North Catholic. I probably would have had a lot of options because as an eighth grader, I was like basically the best eighth grade basketball player in the city of Philadelphia. And, it was kind of humorous because Piccoli Playground in Juniata had a basketball summer league for high schools. And I was seventh and eighth grade playing for the high school team in that summer league. And I remember Speedy Morris approached my dad in the summer league stands at Piccoli and asked him where I was going to high school. And my dad wasn't real pleasant to Speedy at the time, but I love North. I mean, I think I was like 10 years old when my brother was a freshman, and I went to all the basketball games from like 1966. All the way through, and there's great teams with Hank Simentowski that won the Catholic League title, I was North Catholic through and through.
So let me ask you this question: behind the scenes, where was Speedy Morris trying to get you to go to school to?
Roman Catholic.
Oh, wow!
And it's kind of humorous because I ended up coaching at Roman Catholic. And we won a couple Catholic titles there, but that was after Speedy got fired. So kind of a very weird connection to Roman. But yeah, Speedy had just taken over at Roman, and I guess around '68, and he had some really good players. I mean, he had a team that ended up winning the Catholic title, I think, in '69, and. But no, there was never any decision for me. I was going to North from the time I was 10 years old.
So besides basketball, did you participate in any other sports or any other clubs?
Well, yeah, what happened was I was in a lot of, AP classes, and the problem was basketball. Actually, it was really difficult time-wise for me to do anything else. I actually was very good in baseball. And I played baseball my sophomore year, made varsity, and by the time the baseball season had come, I had already started. I was one of the first sophomores that started varsity there as a sophomore at North, and I guess the baseball all of a sudden seemed boring. And being, in the baseball coach had a different philosophy. We had Mr. Constantino was the head basketball coach when I was a sophomore, and he was new, and they had lost a lot of players from the prior year. And so I had a great opportunity that year, and I ended up starting. Where the baseball was a little bit different. Joe Malizia really, he kind of focused on the seniors, and had a senior-oriented concept, a lot like they actually did a Father Judge for years of the basketball. Judge Judge had seniors on the varsity, juniors on the JV, and freshmen on the freshman team, and everybody used to joke. They wondered where the sophomores went because it was like they didn't have any. But it was one of those things where I just really started to got into a love for basketball, and the baseball kind of went by the wayside because all my energies went into the basketball.
So what position did you play at North Catholic, and what were you? So you're in the Hall of Fame, and what was what stood out? Like, what did you break records? Did you set records? What's the story behind Barry Brodzinski and the North Catholic Falcons?
Okay, so you're making me tell you, which is a little uncomfortable, but all right. So I was the school's all-time leading scorer. I had my jersey retired by the school. I was the starting guard for them, and I just it was a great 4 years for me. I had great coaches. Mr. Constantino, and remember Mr. Staley was the freshman coach, and Larry Conti was there, and it was a great camaraderie. I had great teammates, and teammates that, like my sophomore year, for instance. I really have to give those guys credit because, again, it was, I don't know when it was before me that a sophomore started any varsity sport in the Catholic League. But, some of the seniors, Joe Wodeff and Mike O'Connell, really accepted me and, allowed me to be as good as I was, quite honestly. From the time that we started scrimmaging, they didn't care about giving up the ball or who scored. And, it really, I owe them a lot for everything that I accomplished really with the basketball. I remember Luke Hogan, who was a soccer player, very good soccer player. He was a senior, and he beat me up in practice every day. And I'm telling you what, when the games came, they were easy, but my junior year, we had a great team. We were 15-1, and that was a disappointing year. We should have won the Catholic League title, and we fell short. We lost the championship game, but teammates like Mike Kernan, Doug Romancic, Mike Borski, Denny Boylan, with that year's team, all were great players in their own right. And then my senior year, we were a little bit small. We had Rich Kobnewski, who was the center, and Johnny Taylor was the other guard, and John Jakimowicz, Kevin Pierce, some of the senior group. But the junior group that year was awesome. We had Jimmy Walkowitz and Joe Conahan and Norm Buchanan, a bunch of really, really good juniors. So, we did well, but we made the semifinals of the playoffs. But really, all the accomplishments, I led the Catholic League in scoring 2 years in a row, my junior year and senior year. But really, I owe a lot, athletically to those teammates and the coaches I had during those years. It was a lot of fun and a lot of respect, between the guys.
Right. So in your time at North Catholic, who would have been your favorite teacher? I mean, North Catholic had a ton of great teachers, but what teacher stood out to you the most?
Well, again, we were fortunate because at that time we still had a lot of the oblates that were there. And my favorite teacher really was Father Jim O'Neill. He had the AP freshman English class. So he scared the tar out of everybody freshman year. And then I had him again, either as a junior or senior, I forget. But it was really interesting because the degree that I was going for was English education at college. And Father O'Neill at the time had been transferred to Father Judge. And I ended up doing my student teaching under Father O'Neill at Father Judge, which was a lot of fun and great deal of respect. But really the person at North, besides my basketball coaches and a lot of the other great people that were there, Father William Guerin, who was the principal, really kind of saved my life in a lot of ways and helped me through some things. And I'll be forever grateful to him, to be honest with you.
Yes, and it's funny that you say that, because I mentioned that when I had to interview myself like 800 times because I kept messing up. But oblates and the teachers, one of the things, I'm sure everybody can agree with at North Catholic, they did one of two things. They either just got at you in that right direction, like you said, sit you down and help you out and put you down the right track, or they would just kick the shit out of you,
Right.
And that's what North Catholic was all about. And I'm sure other schools were like that as well, but I'm sure we can agree to brotherhood, not only with the classmates that you went to school with, but the friendships that you developed with the teachers and the oblates were, something that really stood out.
Yeah, well, it's kind of amazing because, through the years I had gone back there because, I stayed in basketball. I nationally, I'm considered one of the top shooting instructors and probably like the U.S. and the world. Going over to Italy for the last 14 years and worked with their national teams and going a lot of places in the United States and everything. But no matter when I would go back or who I would meet at North Catholic, it was like we just met one another yesterday. And then that was really, I think, one of the strong points at North is that, you were brothers, you were brothers with your classmates, and the teachers were like fathers and uncles to you. And so a lot of them were there at North for a long, long time, because I remember Mike McCarron was coaching the North team during the 2000s, and Mike was younger than me, and we kind of grew up around the same playground over at Moss Playground. And so Mike, asked me to come a few times and work with the team, put them through some shooting drills. And but when I went back, it was just awesome to see some of the old teachers again, and it really was nice. And one of the funny things was when you talk about people at North. I don't know if anybody's mentioned Mr. Casey to you, the old janitor. Tom, yeah. Well,
where's Woody?
I'll tell you what, he probably was as much a reason why I was good as I was as some of the coaches that were there in terms of basketball. After my freshman year, Tom came up and gave me a key to the side door of the school. And I was able to get into that gym whenever I wanted to. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't even tell like teammates or classmates or anything. But I used to go in there before school in the morning and work out on the gym floor. In the summertime, I'd take the trolley down and just go into the gym. I'd unlock the side door, and but Mr. Casey was great. He would be.
I guess Tom saw greatness, and he
was really a good man, and he loved the school as much as the students and the faculty did, for sure. But he was really good to me, and sometimes I'd finish working out in there, and he'd say, he kind of grumpy, he'd say, make sure you turn out the lights, and but no, he was a good man.
So what would be, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, all years, what in particular would have been your fondest memory of North Catholic?
Wow. Uh, there, it's really hard to come up with one thing. I mean, for my life personally, there were a bunch of things. My older brother played in the JV game when the JV team beat Bishop McDevitt in the playoffs, and I guess I was about 12 years old, 13 years old, and that was just an awesome experience, being in the Plestra, and then being in the Plestra with as a player, and the North Catholic fans when it was full with 9,500 people or 96, however much it was, and having and then the pit being packed with North Catholic fans. A couple things. And one game I remember, which was kind of unbelievable, and people, if you weren't there, you might not believe this, because the ceiling at North Catholic and how low it was. Well, we played Archbishop Ryan, and I had been sick the week before, and so I had like 103 fever. I missed a few days of practice, and we're playing Archbishop Ryan, and Ryan is at the foul line with about 4 seconds to go at the pit, and ready to win the game. So Mr. Constantino called a timeout and basically said, if I think we were up by 1 and the player had 2 shots. And so the kid on the line made the first shot. Constantino called a timeout. It was a tie game. And he basically said, we have no timeouts left. He said, and told the rebounders inside, he said, if you rebound the ball, try to get the ball to Brodzinski, And I remember so vividly, because it was a packed gym, because Brian was very good at the time. And they missed the shot. Steve Serbin rebounded the ball, got it to Mike Borski, and somehow Borski threw me a pass on the same side that the foul shot was just on. And I took one dribble from 3/4 court and made the shot.
Oh, wow.
Now, how that ball went in, how it missed the ceiling from the other foul line, but we won the game, and in like the crowd poured onto the court. So basketball wise, for me, that was an awesome experience. And but the other thing was that I at graduation I was given the provincial medal, and that meant really, I think, more than anything to me. That I was considered for other things other than basketball.
So let me ask you a question. As you're in the Hall of Fame. You're one of the best shooters in the area, the best shooter in the Catholic League. Let me ask this question: as unique as the pit was at North Catholic, do you think that helped you become a better shooter? Like, where did the gym come in? Because you said it was a low ceiling, and a lot of guys get that arc in the shot, and it hit the ceiling or whatnot. So how do you feel that helped you or hurt you?
Well, to be honest with you, one of the things that I teach shooting wise is called early arc, and it's a flat arc. And one of the things a lot of people don't realize about me is I was a shooting instructor at the 5-star basketball camp for about 30 years. And I had players like Michael Jordan and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, some of the greatest players in the world, come through my shooting station. And if you'll watch them shoot, they all have flat arcs. And that's what I teach. I teach an arc that is fairly flat. And it really makes a player have more control over their shot. And because I spent so much time in that gym and I knew every part of that gym, I knew the corner, I knew the outside. I mean, there were some players that came in the gym and we knew they had high arcs in their jump shot, we just forced them out a little deeper. Their first shot would hit the ceiling and they'd be done for the day.
So did the architectural design of the gym, did that
really governed my shot. It governed how I taught shooting and how I still teach shooting. And a lot of people are in disbelief that it really works, but it actually works, because when you arc the ball high, you actually lose control of it. Where if you arc the ball a little bit flatter, you have more control and you can make the ball go where you want it to go. And that helped me, and it's helped a lot of great players that I've helped through the years.
I find that amazing. Like, yeah, I mean, it's incredible that, you know, just another significance of our school and the gym and the pit. Let me ask you this question, little off basketball topic. Jug, justice under God. Did Barry Brodzinski do any time in jug? And was it for missing a shot?
No, I think I did, but I think it was a situation in the cafeteria that occurred where everybody at that particular lunchtime did jug for whatever was going on. So yes, I was part of jug, and but that I think was about the extent of the disciplinary actions at North, because I wanted to avoid that at all costs.
You didn't want it to affect their game time or anything.
Affect game time, or I'm drawing a blank on the disciplinarian at the time, but I also wanted to avoid him. Father, do you remember any of the disciplinarians that has anybody mentioned?
I only remember Ernie Koshnick. That's all I know. I mean, I've heard some names. So
it was a priest, and he was to be avoided. He was pretty tough. So
wow.
Yes, yeah.
So during your era in the North Catholic cafeteria, what was the go-to food for Barry Brodzinski?
It probably were the burgers, the hamburgers. I like that. Most of the time I packed a lunch, and that was pretty disgusting though, because by the time you got to it and you left it in your locker, it wasn't quite as appealing as it looked when you packed it in the morning. But no, I liked the burgers in the cafeteria. That was yeah. And then the one thing I'm sure everybody remembers is the greasy spoon down at the corner under the L stop. It was
I know that one.
Oh yeah. If you get some people in there's probably the 60s, 70s, it was a little joint right at the corner of Tarsdale and Erie there, and it had burgers, steaks, probably the greasiest food you would ever eat in your life, and but great milkshakes. So a lot of time was spent after practice going down there and getting something to eat.
Oh wow! So you've coached and you've trained a lot of kids in basketball. I'm sure maybe this question was posed to you, but if it wasn't, if someone comes up to you and says, "What was it like to be a North Catholic Falcon?" How would you put it in your best words?
It was probably, aside from being married and having my family and my sons, it was definitely the greatest experience of my life. It taught me all the virtues of St. Francis de Sales, and taught you how to be a man, taught you how to be a teammate. It taught you how to be a strong man and still be able to love and be humble, and but it gave you all the great work ethics that you really need. And that's one of the things that really, when I see information about some of my old classmates and the fact that they're still married to their high school sweethearts or their college sweethearts, and they've been married for 40 years. And, it really says a lot about North Catholic, because it taught you the value of family, it taught you the family of loyalty, the value of loyalty. And, but yeah, it was great. And it still is great to be a North Catholic Falcon, that those things don't end.
Yeah. The
memories and, the camaraderie, that will never end. The classmates I see today, it's like, we were just seeing one another yesterday.
So you see on the news, you get the word that 2010 is the last year for North Catholic. That's it. It's shutting down. No ifs, ands, or buts. What's the first thing that goes through your mind?
I was really upset and angry, to be honest with you, because I don't think enough of us knew the state that North was in at the time. The one thing I remember that I was really, and maybe I should have been more aware, I spent 15 years in Pittsburgh. I went out and I was a coach at Duquesne University, and then we stayed out there for a time until the interest rates got under control, and then we moved back. But I remember, when I told you about going back and helping out Mike McCarron a little bit and being in the gym, I was actually a little shocked at the deplorable state of the school. I went through that same door that Mr. Casey had given me that key to, that took me through the locker room, and it was in deplorable condition. It's like nothing had been done to it since the 1970s when I had gone to school there. And I guess, the school really needed updating. It needed attention, but it needed, I just think it needed a little bit more, news being put out to people who really cared, to maybe that we could have done something. I was really upset. I remember actually, crying but being angry at the same time, that I just felt like enough of us didn't know that something really needed to be done, and how much needed to be done to keep it open.
And nobody can understand, nowadays it's even more prevalent, like schools just shutting down. Now they just announced Hallahan, and people just don't understand. They just tell you, oh, well, there's nothing you could do. There's low enrollment. You just got to accept it. People just don't get it. It was something special to all of us. And again, 2010, it's now 2000 or 2021, you're talking 11 years later, and the heart and the desire. And again, just off of these documentaries I'm doing, the stories that people are telling, this could have been over and done with. I mean, we could have rolled over and played dead, but you have the Alumni Association. Now you have Jerry and them guys who started this Norphins organization that helps kids get scholarships and gives to the Police Survivors Fund. I think, again, I've said before in some other interviews, that speaks volumes of the men who went through the halls of North Catholic and the gentlemen that we all became. It's just there's words don't describe it. It's just.
Well, see, I was at Roman when they were going to close Roman in the 80s. In 1980s, the 85-86 school year, Roman's enrollment had dropped to under 300. And, I was the head basketball coach there. And I can remember, we were in the playoffs and we were on the march to win a Catholic League title. And, I was being interviewed by news reporters and papers and asking me, how's the team accepting this? How's the team handling this? And that's when Roman, went to Cardinal Kroll and got him to agree to that if they could sign up 1,000 freshmen by May 1st of 1986, that he would agree to keep the school open. And sure enough, they did that. They got 1,000 and some signatures of people who were going to come, and the school has thrived ever since then. As a matter of fact, my assistant coach at Roman, a great friend and a North Catholic graduate, Denny Seddon, he became the head coach after me and did great at Roman Catholic. But to me, they should have involved more people. And it seemed, by the time I found out about it, it was a small group that seemed to be handling everything, and it was just really a disappointment, because North meant so much to so many people, and I still feel that maybe something could have been done to keep it open.
Yeah, I actually I have Dennis Seddon on one of my lists to interview. Maybe you could reach out to him and see if he wants to tell his story. So again, for all the guys and alumni and that are going to be watching this video, we didn't have that opportunity to have a summer reunion this year, which hopefully 2021 will double in size. I mean, already we had to pretty much rent out all of Keenan's because of that. For the guys and like I said, the alumni who are going to watch this, do you have a message for everybody?
Well, I just have a message that I hope everyone has stayed healthy during this time and stayed strong, and know that the North Catholic spirit will never die, and we'll all be brothers no matter what happens in this world and the craziness of politics. That we're still one under the North Catholic Falcon emblem.
That's awesome, Barry. Barry, I just want to thank you for sharing your stories. If there's anything that you forgot, you want to bring up, you want to mention, we still have a few minutes, but I just want to thank you, and I'm sure everybody else is looking forward to this. Lenny Kells is dying to see this video. I know that. It has been an honor and a pleasure to have a North Catholic Hall of Famer sitting right in front of me and being able to, share your story with me and the rest of the alumni.
No, well, I wasn't one to, really be, outspoken. I was actually kind of an introvert in high school, and that's kind of tough, being one of the best players in Philadelphia as a high school player. But I just really had some great friendships there at North, and to this day, some of the memories and things that we did together and things that happened, they'll be some of the best memories I've ever had in my life.
Are you going to make this year's reunion?
Well, see, that's been always tough for me. I went one year as a guest bartender, but I've been going to Italy, as I told you, for 14 years and working with their national teams. And this past summer was the first summer that I missed because of the COVID and the fact that U.S. citizens weren't allowed into Italy this summer. If things break and things get a little bit back to normal, I'm supposed to be going there for about 4 or 5 weeks, and normally that last week in July is one of the weeks that I'm there. And I know that's normally, when the reunions have been. So it just all depends on the date.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Well, we hope everybody can make it this year. And like I said, hopefully this year is a couple times bigger. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. So again, I hope you and your family stay safe and stay healthy and have a great new year. And I want to thank you for, sharing your memories with us, your times at North Catholic.
No, I really appreciate it. Anything that involves North Catholic, I'm all in. So I just appreciate you thinking of me.
Awesome. Well, thank you much. And, this will be up in a few minutes, and, looking forward to seeing you somewhere down the line.
Thanks a lot. Nice talking to you.